Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly Pop Culture Wrap-Up. That's right everybody, welcome to the weekly Pop Culture Wrap-Up here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and this is the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies, but first of all, got to give a big shout out to Alex Inkster. He's been supporting us over at Patreon at patreon.com/PCP for a good long while now. Alex, I really do appreciate that. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Seriously, and I hope you've been enjoying those PCP video newsletters I've been sending you. If not, I highly encourage you to do so. Otherwise, let's get right into it with the Pop Culture Wrap-Up and some comic book news. Major X. This is going to be a Rob Liefeld thing. That's a new character. It's Rob Liefeld, right? And, you know, my mom taught me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Actually, in fact, that is not what she taught me. She taught me that if you don't have anything nice to say it even more loudly. But I have grown up a little bit beyond that. But Rob Liefeld is spearheading an X-Men event called Major X. There's a character there. Cable's in the background. Maybe Rob Liefeld doesn't know what's going on in X-Men continuity. Maybe they don't care. It seems the big rumors are saying that there's something major planned for X-Men, but that it keeps getting pushed back further. And it's not happening until summer of this year. So everything they've been doing, this X-Men Disassembled story, the Rosenberg Last X-Men story, and probably even this Rob Liefeld Major X, because I don't think that that is the big thing that the rumors were talking about. I feel like this is all just kind of like filling in that space leading up into it, right? And that's kind of like Age of X-Men is going to be like the same thing. Could be having some interesting stories. Anyway, supposedly something big's coming with X-Men, but this is coming out in April. Most of the books I'm about to talk about do release in April of this year. But this is Major X. The first issue is going to be written and drawn entirely by Rob Liefeld. So if you're excited, I'm excited for you, but I definitely wanted to talk about that. We'll talk about that more on the live stream tonight. If you want a little bit more unfiltered reaction. Symbiote Spider-Man is a new series from Peter David and Greg Land. It's going to be 5 issues. It starts in April. A lot of people on Twitter have been, the comics Twitter buzz has been too many Spidey books. And I'm like, they always have too many Spidey books. Even when they cut the title down to one book, Amazing Spider-Man, for a while there, a few years ago, several years ago, several years ago, they still publish that book 3 times a month. So, yeah, there's always too much Spider-Man. Why? Because Spider-Man's their bread and butter. They're #1. That's why you're always going to have a lot of Batman titles. You're always going to have a lot of Spider-Man. Anyway, it's a 5-issue series. It's going to focus on Peter's time. It takes place in the past, kind of like a redefining of his time in the symbiote costume before it went to Eddie Brock and they became Venom together. So it's a nice tie into that. Obviously, Mysterio's on the cover. They never did a comic book where Black Costume Spider-Man went after Mysterio. So there will be a way that they can do that, and it'll be wrapping up or right there at the height just in time for the Spider-Man Far From Home movie, in which he will be wearing a black stealthy costume and fighting Mysterio. So it makes sense to me. I don't mind. I'm glad this is a mini-series. But just like Sal from Comic Pop said on Twitter, Symbiote Spider-Man is a terrible title for a comic book. Web of Venom, though, is an amazing title for a comic book. But what's even better is Cult of Carnage. So Cult of Carnage is the next Web of Venom one-shot that's coming out. Donny Cates has been spearheading these things. They're filling in some of the gaps, leading us into, if you're enjoying the Venom book by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman and company, you definitely need to be checking out these Web of Venom one-shots. They're kind of important to the story. They add a little bit of auxiliary information, and they're really fun. This one's going to be focusing on this new cult that kind of worships Carnage. It's something that's been established in recent issues of Venom. Super excited about this because I love Venom, I love Carnage, and I love fellow Yankees fan Frank Thierry. Frank Thierry is going to be writing this one with artwork by Danilo S. Beyruth. So super excited for this one. The cover looks fire. Very excited. Anything that's involving Venom and Carnage right now, I'm down. I am so down. There's a new graphic novel, an OGN as we call it, from Aftershock Comics. I'm sorry, Dr. Dre doesn't do comic books, right? At least not yet, but he should. Aftershock Comics. It's going to be written by Zach Thompson and artwork by Arjuna Suzini. This is going to be called The Replacer. I couldn't read my own handwriting. The Replacer. It's going to be like the $7.99, 64-page like probably a floppy, maybe a prestige format. I think it's going to be a floppy though. Comes out in April. This sounds awesome. Basically, it's a very personal story that Zach Thompson is writing. Apparently his father had a deal with paralysis at some point when he was a child, and this is about a child's gripping with the realization of the idea that their father is not immortal, that their father is not invulnerable, right? So this kid, his family, they have a tragedy. Father has a stroke. He winds up paralyzed or something like that. And the kid in his head, instead of accepting what is actually happening in reality, he likens it to a demon possession. So now he thinks his dad is possessed by some kind of demon or creature or something like that. Sounds really cool. I love it when writers and artists tell very personal stories. This sounds cool. It sounds like an original concept, and I definitely wanted to point that out to you. Another thing, Section Zero's returning in 2019. Section Zero. What is Section Zero? Well, for those of us who may be as old as me and as into comic books as I am, back in the 90s, a few writers band together over at Image Comics. They started a new imprint called Guerrilla Comics. I loved it. It was Kurt Busiek, Mark Waid, George Perez, Carl Kiesel. Carl Kiesel and Tom Grummett launched this like superhero version of the X-Files almost type book called Section Zero. It's coming back. It got kickstarted. It's back at Image. They tried to get this book going over and over again for the last 20 years. It's kind of been what's going on with Guerrilla Comics. If you've never checked out any of the Guerrilla's comic stuff, it was amazing. It's where George Perez was, we'll talk about him later. He was trying to do Crimson Plague again, but it never really happened. That book was plagued, if you will. Kurt Busiek did Shock Rockets with Stuart Immonen. Amazing stuff. That's where Empire came from Barry Kitson and Mark Waid. That book did eventually find second and third life and survived. So that was really, really cool to have that complete story. And also, what's the other one? Carl Kiesel. No, that's all of them. But really fun stuff. There was Superstar I've seen on TV. Really fun stuff from Guerrilla Comics. I'm very excited that Kiesel and Grummett got this book back to going. Anyway, Section Zero. If you're not familiar with it, I am super pumped, and I'm sure there'll be some reprints of the previous material coming just in time for that. New Walmart books. You know, we talk about these Walmart comics. It's a popular point of conversation over in the PCP Army on Facebook, which is the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. If you're not a part of it, you definitely should join PCP Army over at Facebook. But we always talk about these Walmart books. I try to collect them every single bit because I want this Tom King Superman story. I want this Brian Michael Bendis Batman story with Nick Darrington and Andy Kubert, but it got too much for me. Sometimes they're kind of difficult to find. We'll see what happens. Anyway, later on in the early part of this year, they are adding 3 new titles to those Walmart books, but they are canceling. They're adding 4 new titles, but they're canceling 2. Teen Titans, gone, and Justice League, gone. Instead replaced with Wonder Woman, which will carry up the same backup stories from the New 52 and such that they've been publishing in the Justice League. Also, they're going to be doing a Swamp Thing. That's really, really exciting. Flash and Titans. So Teen Titans becomes Titans because DC's kind of got a hit on their hands with Titans. So anyway, I just want to point out Swamp Thing, Wonder Woman, Flash, Titans, new DC Walmart 100-page spectaculars. Also, Target's got a deal to do that DC Primal Age 100-page spectacular. This could be a little bit more, I think. So we were talking about George Perez earlier. George Perez officially announces his retirement from comic books. He's still going to be doing a little bit of touring in the convention circuit throughout the year. He's going to do 2 shows next year. I think it's Fetish Con and Dragon Con. I've never gone to a Dragon Con, which is just a hop, skip, jump, and a drive away from where I am in my present location here in Huntsville Attic Studios. So maybe that I should go there for a day just to meet George Perez, to have the opportunity. I've never met him. George Perez is a very influential artist. He's amazing at detail. He understands these characters. He's had exceptional runs on titles like Avengers, Justice League, and more. Fantastic work. Really sad to see no future work, but we weren't really getting a lot of content from George Perez. However, it does affect his commission schedule. Apparently now commissions will be done on a more low-scale basis at a little higher page rate, but he just feels like, you know, things like his eyesight and some health issues he's been having, he can't pump out the quality that he was. I respect someone who wants to go out on top and doesn't want to give people what they feel like is inferior work. Anyway, check out the details. He did this big long thing. Check out, I guess, is there a GeorgePerez.com? I don't know. There's something. Just type in George Perez. You'll find it. his tour circuit this year. These are going to be your last chances to see him, aside from apparently FetishCon and DragonCon next year. He's going to be at both those cons this year. Apparently those are cons he really likes, and it does not surprise me. But George Perez, thank you so much for everything. Your run with Kurt Busiek on the Avengers in the late 90s changed my life. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate that. Some sad news though. Titans has been canceled over at DC. I think it's been canceled because there's a Titans series that's quasi popular. It's really good. If you don't have the DC Universe app, they offer a 7-day free trial. Absolutely. Sign up for 7 days, binge watch the Titans, and then see if it's worth it. Because to me, it was worth it, and I'm super pumped for Doom Patrol coming out next month. And I'm getting into Young Justice right now because Young Justice Season 3 is coming out, and I haven't really watched it. So I'm in the middle of Season 1, and I'm rather enjoying it. So the DC Universe app, to me, is kind of cool, but Titans has been canceled. The comic book maybe to be relaunched as something more familiar to that show. I don't know. But Titans is done. So is Damage. Another one of those new Age of Heroes titles bites the dust. We knew this was coming. It's official. Titans and Damage are canceled as of April. Anyway, movies, TVs. Let's talk about it. We don't just talk about comic books. We talk about movies and TV too, especially when they involve comic books. Spider-Man Far From Home. I know you all saw the trailer. What'd you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. What did I think about it? Thought it was amazing. Thought it was spectacular. Thought it was way above. I thought it was sensational. I thought it was fantastic. I really did. Thought it was great. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I love Homecoming. I think it's one of the best MCU films. I loved everything about this trailer. Mysterio, the elemental type beings. It looked like we got a Hydro Man. It looked like we got a Sandman and a Fireman. You know, that could be, what was his name? What's it, Molten Man? Yeah, Molten Man. Maybe that's Molten Man. I think you watch the trailer. I'm not trying to spoil anything because this is just a projection. This is my idea. I think that Mysterio is using his illusions. It's an illusion, Michael. He's using his illusions to make himself seem like a hero, is what I think. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, Tom Holland returning as Spider-Man, and the rest looks great. Looks fun, looks cool. I love it. And the end there with the dickwad thing, yeah. Perfect. Thought it was great. Ghostbusters. There's a new Ghostbusters movie coming in 2020, and it's going to be directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, who did the original 2 Ghostbusters films. What? It's set in the original Ghostbusters universe. They just randomly made the announcement and released a teaser. The teaser, you just zero in on a barn and eventually hear these weird noises and this music starts sounding very familiar, and then this tarp rolls back, and it's the Ecto-1. It's the back of the Ecto-1. Ghostbusters is coming back in summer of 2020. I'm super pumped. You know, I really wanted to like that last Ghostbusters film. I really, really did. I watched it with just an open heart and an open mind. It sucked. I did not like it whatsoever. If you liked it, that's cool. But I did not like it. And it was just not a good movie for me. My favorite, though, hot take, my favorite Ghostbusters film is Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2. So I'm super excited for this. I know a lot of you guys are, too. A lot of you gals as well. Unsolved Mystery returns. Unsolved Mysteries was a great show by Robert Stack. I liked it when they went into the supernatural, but even like the missing murderer type stuff really creeped me out when I was a kid. Sean Levy, who's a producer over at Stranger Things, is going to be producing this 12 episode first season of a new Unsolved Mysteries. Super pumped for that. And finally, I want to point your attention to a trailer. This was pointed out to me, I believe in the PCP Army, maybe just on his personal page, but our good buddy Brett, member of the PCP Army. Straight up. Brett, thank you for pointing this in my direction. It's a new movie with Sam Elliott called The Man Who Killed Hitler, and then the Bigfoot. This movie looks great. A great trailer. It looks outrageous and outlandish. It looks grounded and deep and resonant at the same time. It looks really, really good. I really highly encourage you to check out the trailer for The Man Who Killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. It looks different. It looks unique. And everybody's always saying, why is everything based on a comic book or a movie? Why is everything a sequel when it comes to film and cinema, right? Why? Why? Can't we have some originality, right? Which, if you want originality in fiction, I encourage you especially to check out Vault Comics. This is a very original, cool movie, it looks like. And it's Sam Elliott. And it just looks awesome. So I highly encourage you to check out that trailer. I also highly encourage you to check us out tonight for the Robbie Rants live stream. That's right, tonight, 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time. Join us here on this YouTube channel. I'll be chatting live about this upcoming week's comic books. We'll be talking about movies, pop culture, television, music, and more. Life, football, whatever you want to talk about. Join us. Join in on the conversation. Let's get it started. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. We got some excitement coming out this week. The weekly comic book review, all that jazz and more can be found at popculturephilosophers.com or right here on the YouTube channel if you subscribe. So please do like, share, and subscribe. We really do appreciate everything, especially you, Alex. Thank you so much. And if you want to be like Alex, get your name mentioned, get your shout out, get your name in the credits at the end. Just get some exclusive content like the PCP video newsletter that I do. And sometimes Brooks and Jelani are there with me. In fact, the next one that's popping up is going to be with me, Jelani, and Brooks. And we're going to be talking about action figures, things like that. Join us over at patreon.com/PCP to help join this community and create a positive place here on YouTube for comic books, pop culture, movies, and more. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on living.